my name is Jason J. Rock Houston. This is Categories TV. We're talking to my good friend Stacey David Blades. Now, Stacey, I can't believe last time I talked to you, it's been about 5 years, and at the time, I think you had another band, Electric Radio King. So, real quick,
Yeah.
what happened
Is
with
it that long? 5 years.
Yeah, life does go on, as they say, huh?
It does. So we're talking, wow, like 2018, I guess that was.
Yeah.
Yeah. So that band was together for 3 years, and we saw some excuse me, moderate success with that band.
Yeah.
We'd released this single called "Sympathy for Me," and that got played on Alice Cooper's
Nice.
radio.
Yeah.
So that kind of busted the doors open for the band, and then we ended up between that and I think the next single we finished recording an album actually with Mike Gillies, who produced Crashing Wayward's album, and we decided on a remake of Amy Winehouse's "Back to Black." It was like, what, how are we going to do what are we going to do that song? I thought it was an odd choice, but we put a lot of time into that, and it actually turned out really, really well. And it started getting a lot of radio play. We had hired a really great radio promotion company out of New Jersey called Landshark Promotion. They're one of the big dogs for that type stuff. So we ended up getting at least, I think, close to like over 1,000 plays nationally on radio. So all of a sudden we saw, the song entered 84, I think, on Modern Rock Billboard. And then every week it would jump at least 10 or 20 spots. And the next thing you know, we broke the top 30 at number 28. We were all like, whoa. However, that band was very forced, and it wasn't really meant to be. And I knew the whole time that was together, Jason, that I was waiting for the other shoe to fall, because there was just certain people in our organization that didn't want to do it. And right on the wall. And as the song got bigger, we started getting attention from labels, and we ended up signing with this company, MI5, which was a division of Universal. And then Larry Mazur, who used to manage Kiss in the early 90s.
Union,
he was also manager of Lamb of God. Cinderella, yes, of course. He wanted to sign us to his management company. So it was like, wow, it's all happening. And we were down in New Orleans and Houston, and we played a couple of big shows. And that night, the singer Paul was just like, I'm done. I quit.
Amazing.
So, I'm just like, wait, what? And he just, kind of flushed it down the toilet. And so 3 years of all that, and just that tip of, it was just gone.
And that's why I asked, because it seemed like the band was here and gone. And I'm like, wow, that band seemed to have momentum. And I think, doing an Amy Winehouse song, maybe the reason it was so popular is it wasn't an obvious cover for a band like that to do.
Right. Yeah. And we really spent a long time. I mean, if it wasn't for Mike, I remember the original tracking it, and it was just like, it was awful. And I was just like, well, this is a nightmare. And then halfway through the album, we switched producers with Mike. And he saved it. He saved it. He went to town on that song, and it came out really great. But looking back, I was grateful that the band imploded, because it gave birth to Crashing Wayward.
Which I want to get into now, because in prepping for the interview, I was listening to the stuff you sent me of Electric Press Kit, and I was checking out all the videos. Man, quite impressive. As impressive as the other band was, I think this is the next obvious, huge giant step up.
I think so. So I'm very, very grateful, and everything has its course and path. And that was kind of meant to happen like that. I thought with ERK we did make a decent album, pretty good album. And it was nice to have that Billboard award hanging on the wall.
And what I love about it, Stacey, is like, I mean, you have not taken the path a lot of 80s rock guys have, which, a lot of people like myself first came to know you, through LA Guns. And, I understand that when Steve Riley put together his latest version, he had asked you to come back and politely said no. And I understand because like you want to kind of have your own thing. And I think it makes sense, especially when you've seen the success that Electric Radio Kings, started to have. You seen the potential that was there.
Yeah. I just didn't want to take a step backwards, and was very grateful for what I did with it. Just not there musically as well, but and I didn't want to just
be stuck on one thing.
Well, not so much that, but just like get involved with that war that was going on. I was like, I don't want.
Yeah, makes sense. I mean, and I will say this, and listening to the stuff last night, prepping for today's interview, a lot of people will say rock is dead or there aren't any more rock stars. I kind of disagree with that, and Crashing Wayward is my proof. I mean, I will say this: to me, Crashing Wayward is the future sound of rock.
Wow, I like that.
Yeah.
What's cool? It's I think the reason the band is really starting to take off is there's so many familiar elements with this band, and we kind of just let it be what it became, which was something really, really amazing. Ironically, this actual lineup with the drummer from Electric Radio Kings started out the beginning of 2020 as Electric Radio Kings. I'd reformed the band because it was like clutching on that success. We did play in Vegas and Hollywood, played at the Viper Room right before the pandemic. And then, once months went by after that, Pete, our singer, was like, Stacey, time to let go of the life raft and change the name. And that we did. We got Sean in the fold, our drummer, and it's just started blossoming this amazing, incredible, flower. And Disco Kills was actually the first song as Crashing Wayward that came into the fold. So we had spent we spent like March, April, May, June, July, August, September just writing and demoing, and all of a sudden all of these great, really cool different ideas. But it was Disco Kills that was like, okay, that's us, that we found our voice. And that was a riff and a song idea that David Harris, our other guitar player, brought in. And I actually, when I reached out to Sean, our drummer, I said, hey, I'm dissolved ERK and I would like you to be part of this new thing. And I sent him that, and he's like, dude, I'm in.
There you go. Yeah.
And it was like, it had this Soundgarden Rival Sons kind of vibe. And he's like, this is exactly what I'm looking for. And I said, well, buckle up, here we go. So we really took that year, Jason, to find out the band that we wanted to be, but let it develop naturally. And we're very blessed to have four strong writers in this band.
I listen to stuff and it doesn't really it sounds natural. It doesn't sound like it was forced, and Disco Kills, that's one of my favorite tracks off of this. And I don't know, I see that you're a mutual Kiss fan as I am, and it kind of reminds me back, when they did Dynasty and everybody was, oh, Kiss has got disco. It was one song and it was what it was. But what are your memories of, the big disco era, Grease and Staying Alive and all that? Did you really, were you into any of that, or what was your feeling?
I was such a little kid. I think I was like, 8 or 9 at that time, in like, so that was in like the late 70s, right? And you're as an 8-year-old or 9-year-old, your ears not really developed onto. So I was all about the Bee Gees and
I mean, I love disco for what it was. I'll say this: it's amazing. As big as it got, it came and went.
It was definitely a fad, but it was funny how all the rock bands picked up. You had the Stones doing disco. You had Kiss. You had Blondie. You had Rod Stewart. They were all hopping on that bandwagon, and they made some of their best songs. During that era. So I think it was like, it gets a really bad name, but the song Disco Kills is not about disco.
No, yeah, I was almost wondering if it was about, because I remember, people running over disco records saying disco sucks. I was just wondering if it was from that time, your memories of that.
Actually, yeah, it's not, has nothing to do with disco music at all. So
Word, yeah.
It's up to interpretation, but it's kind of like people with political agendas,
Oh, I got you. Oh, see, I love that.
Pete would explain it better. He wrote the lyrics, and
I love it. So see, if you ever get into lyrics, typically lyrics are a metaphor for something else, and
yes, right.
And I think one of the things I've always touched on with you is no matter what you've been involved with, you've always been a great songwriter. I mean, I remember a couple of years back, you were just writing with some guy. You're posting stuff up on YouTube. You're doing some country stuff, a little bit of everything.
Yeah. We pitched that stuff for 8 months solid in Nashville, and not a bite. That left a really bad taste in my mouth about the country music industry in Nashville.
Yeah.
And it's just such a racket. It's like there's just all these song pictures, and they'll just.
But Stacey, what I dug about that time in your career is it showed that you're more of a one-trick pony. I mean, if you had to go out and write other music for other people, you can do it.
Yeah. And, thank you, Jason. I've always kind of been like a bit of a chameleon, and I like lots of different kinds of music. I love blues and jazz and, rock and metal. I'm not just like a rock guitar player.
Sure.
One cool thing I think with Crashing Wayward is it allows me as a writer to really stretch out and be expansive. And, I love using, a lot of jazz chords and stuff in my writing. And that's the STP influence that I have.
I hear that. And I also hear, believe it or not, a potential for this band to kind of be like Queen in the sense that you look at Queen, they've had a song like Killer Queen, which is, you can almost say rock and roll vaudeville. They had something like Bohemian Rhapsody, almost opera, and then We Will Rock You, which is a great rock anthem, and then ballads like We Are the Champions.
Or Stone Cold Crazy, which was total
to me that's okay. Like Queen's not a metal band, but that's as metal as they ever got.
Yeah, man, that thing rocks, dude. Yeah.
Another one, Bites the Dust. I mean, that's almost got. I mean, that's disco. Funk. That's got a little bit of funk.
Yeah. So we kind of don't paint ourselves into one corner. So what's cool is that the five of us have all different influences, and they show in all the songs. And once you listen to the full record, Jason and May, you'll really see the dynamic and the differences in certain songs. It doesn't sound linear at all.
I can tell people just based on the 3 songs I've heard so far that you sent me in the Electric Press Kit. I see that potential that for a band like this. I've seen other people describe it as kind of a hard rock U2 and for example like Strange Days, I see that could be a huge radio hit, like you could have a huge crossover with a song like that.
That was a song that got us signed. It was funny because RFK Media, Ron Keel's label, he's like, I listened to that song like literally 20 times in the course of a day. He goes, you ruined my, and he said, that's the best song I've heard in 20 years. So we were like, wow, but what's great about the album, there's 11 songs on the album. There's not one weak track on that. So it's like very, very strong record.
Any of those songs could probably be a single is my guess. And the thing with that's old school in the sense that a lot of bands don't even release physical product anymore. And I love that. And that we're not getting just a 5-song EP as great as that would be.
Exactly.
I would be feeling, man, I love this stuff, but I wish there was like 6 more songs on it.
Yeah, we're gonna do digital CD, and we're gonna do a vinyl run in the summertime.
Now let me ask you, Stacey, these 11 songs on the new CD. Are these any of them old songs you had laying around, or just new that were written with the band?
Yeah, all brand new. We all collectively really put just, the album took 2 years to make, and we just put everything into it. So everybody's performance and their ideas, Mike's production and his engineering and his ideas that he brought to the table.
Live in Vegas?
I'm sorry, what's that?
Everybody in the band live in Vegas?
Pretty much. Pete grew up in San Diego, and our bass player Carl, he lived in LA, but they both moved here last summer. So
here's a funny question. A guy that's been in LA for many years. I know you live in Vegas now. You were one of the first guys, when everybody started moving to Vegas to go up there. What's that been like for you? Because I mean, I dare say Vegas is kind of a new music capital. I mean, LA is nothing like it once was,
No, it's not. And every time I go back, I'm kind of reminded why I left, along with the rest of California, and they're all moving here now. So yeah, I've been here 10 years. I've seen this city really, really grow and explode over the last 2 or 3 years. So it's exciting, but at the same time, it's like what a lot of us were trying to escape from LA. It's now
becoming now.
Yeah. There's traffic, and the prices have gone way up, and the secret's out. So,
and then your former LA gun buddy, Scotty Griffin, I understand, he lives up there too, and he's also like a rock and roll realtor.
Yes, actually, he just moved to Orlando.
Oh wow, okay.
Yeah, he's sad to see him go, but he came out here I think about 8 months or so after I did. So, quite a few people, a lot of musicians here now for sure. Yeah.
And so these songs, like, was everybody in the band involved in the writing? Like, did you guys get in a room? Everybody kind of just present what they had?
Yeah, it was. The writing process was like either Pete and I had an idea and we demo it, and then other guys in the band like Dave, Carl, and Sean would add all their parts and add a lot of really cool parts to it. Or sometimes Dave would present a finished idea, and then I would just kind of add some different guitar parts to that, and Pete would write his lyrics in. So it wasn't really forced. It was very natural.
Yeah.
And the only song that we really kind of really pulled apart was Breathe, the single. And that was a song that Carl actually had been sitting on for 10 years. And it was in a different key, and it was kind of almost like a punky Foo Fighters type song. And then Mike completely dismantled it. We changed the key, we dropped it to D, and Mike added this 5/4 time to it, which was very unique. And he came up with the vocal melody that's very different. So that was a challenge to kind of redo everything, but it was very exciting because there was a lot that went in.
How happy were you with the final product when it came to the song Breathe? Because it sounds awesome to me, but maybe you labor on the song, you work it out, and you finally get to the point where it is what it is at this point.
It was so drastic from the original demo. So we were really kind of excited about that because what's great about this band is we're all very open to changes, the creative process. So watching that really blossom from what it started as was cool.
And what I got excited about the potential of this band I see is again, like we were talking about, it could it's hard rock. It's got elements of metal. I dare say it's got elements of, I don't think it's a bad word, pop,
No.
I see a lot of this stuff could cross over to, commercial radio.
Yeah, it's interesting, when you ask different people, what does the band sound like? You usually get 5 different answers.
Which I think is a good thing, yeah.
I remember this one guy this guy Diesel at radio. It's in South Carolina, and we got the #1 spot. We beat out like Alter Bridge.
Amazing. See, the album's not even out. Wow, #1.
Yeah. And he was like, reminiscent of U2, Soundgarden, and Queens of the Stone Age. And I was like, that's awesome.
That's
And what was really cool is Carl's originally from Baltimore, DC area, and Breathe has been #1 on 97 Underground for 2 weeks straight. So that was, we saw that, we got that notification. It's funny because Carl lives literally right next door to he's the house right next door to mine.
Wow.
So we were over there working on some music, and we got that notification, and we just had this like, dude, high five moment, like, because that was very proud for him to, have a #1 spot on that radio station growing up in, Baltimore. So
Yeah, I'm sure. And see, that's got to be a lot of pride for you as, like I said, you're doing your own thing, and you probably,
yeah,
I'm sure you get tons of offers to join established bands, but you're kind of building this up from the ground up, and it's got to be a great feeling that this is kind of your baby. The other guys in the band,
yeah,
you're doing
yeah.
it together, you're building
Yeah,
it up.
it's been a lot of work and process, so it's nice to see it really starting to take off.
And let's talk about the deal with Ron Keel's
Yeah.
RFK Media. How did that deal come about? Did he approach you, or?
Yeah, he had heard, I think Sean, actually, yeah, Sean, our drummer, him and Ron go way back. I've known Ron a long time, but him known each other for a long, long time. So he sent him Stranger Days, and Ron was just like, he's like, my God, this song is, he's like, you wrecked my.
Get written all over it, right? Yeah.
Yeah. So he was like, listen, guys, I'm starting a new label. I'm going to have a staff of 4. And Ron is just one of the hardest working guys in the business. So we thought that, this guy is so on our team. If we were to sign with another label, I don't think we would get that kind of attention.
But do you think it makes a difference being signed to some guy's label who he's an absolute musician himself? He's lived the life. He can kind of relate to what you guys are doing, as opposed to maybe just some guy who owns a label in a suit, knows nothing about the music business.
It's always a gamble. I mean, that label MI5 that Electric Radio Kings was on, that was the guy, singer from Modern English, and that guy didn't do shit for us.
Yeah.
So it's always, you take somebody's word.
But what I love about Ron Keel's label is, besides all that, is like it just kind of popped up out of nowhere. I just starting to hear a ton of stuff about it, and they signed you guys. They got Pamela Moore. They got all these other great artists. The Fifth, who recently did the Kiss Cruise.
Yeah. So the staff, like I said, we've known Ron, for years, and we just know we're in good hands.
And then I got to say too that your publicist Jody that you hooked me up with, who we have to thank her for the interview. On this, and just you put me in touch with her. She also got me an interview. It's going to be posted soon. I did with Desi Rex, who from DeMalls, and so a lot of great people. And so just through me reaching out to you and you hooking me up with her. So I got to thank you for that.
Kick ass. Yeah, she's great.
Yeah. And did you play the new? They got RFK All-Star Media. There's a song American Thunder. Do you play on that at all?
Yeah, I did a solo on that. I couldn't tell you all the musicians. There's quite a few.
I got that, but I just thought I read that you played on that. So talk a little bit about that experience.
Ron had asked me, and then I totally, it was kind of funny because I completely spaced about it. And then he was like, hey man, I need that solo. We're mixing that tomorrow. I was like, oh crap.
Thanks.
So I popped over to Carl's. Carl's got a studio in one of his bedrooms. So, and I just, I think I did put in 2 or 3 takes, but I wanted to do something kind of different, to really showcase my playing is a lot different than.
Let me ask you, did you hear the track first and then you kind of just came up with what you wanted to do?
I kind of focus more on the solo section as opposed to the rest of the track, because it's like then my mind is on that section. That's kind of the, I'm a music teacher as well, so that's the teacher in me is just like, okay, we'll get back to the track, but let's focus on this section right now so I can really do something that's going to be memorable, as opposed to just like the same whatever. Just we'll lay down this,
So
stuff.
having a number one song with Bree, let me ask you, and hopefully that rest album's going to do great when it comes out. What are the plans to take the band on tour?
So what's cool is that the label is starting an in-house agency as well. So right now we're just kind of booking the band ourselves, but we've got some great stuff coming up. We just did a fantastic show up in Salt Lake City. And it was, we packed the place. It was a great night. And then we, Vegas, March 11th, then we're going to the Rockin' Podcast in Nashville, March 18th. And then there's a big, showcase. Yeah, exactly. That is at Bowie's, which is a great new venue in Nashville. So, we're really excited about that. And then we play, March 31st at the Brooklyn Bowl, which is a big venue on the Strip with Puddle of Mud and Saliva.
Oh wow, that's cool. Yep. That's definitely stuff to look forward to. Now let me ask you, do you have a release date yet for the album, or potentially you said sometime in May?
We're looking at May 12th, Jason. So that's the projected date. So we've been very busy just getting the final mixes and mastering ready and sequencing, and I think we finally picked our single. So we're going to be getting that ready for release around the time of the album with a video.
I'm assuming that they'll be taking pre-orders if people want.
I believe so, yeah. So, but it'll be all digital format as well. But they are.
I love catching up with you. I love to thank you for taking time out of your schedule to do this. And I just want to say you're welcome back anytime. Like I said, this way I'm doing it now. And definitely I'll be having you back once the album comes out and I have a chance to hear it. The entire thing, because we want to really pump it as much as we can.
Yeah, that would be great, Jason. Yeah, always great to chat with you, buddy.
Okay, take care. Thanks again. Bye
cool.
bye.
Yeah, thanks, Jason. Have a good weekend, man. Yeah, take care. Bye bye.